Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 1 p.m. here in Crystal Lake. It means it's time for another live stream. Today is, what is today? Tuesday, December 19th, 2023. And it is kind of getting really close to Christmas time. For those of you who procrastinate like me, you are late in terms of getting all the stuff that you want to get done. So put down everything else that you've been doing to procrastinate. Stop procrastinating, and you got to get those gifts taken care of. If you are a Christmas procrastinator, that probably means that someone else in your life is already taking care of the more important Christmas gifts. You only have a couple to do. Go and take care of them. Do that today. Make it a priority. You need to do that because otherwise your wife is going to be mad at you, probably. But on the note of Christmas, I did get my Secret Santa gift. Kofuzi Run Club Discord did a little Secret Santa exchange this year. I did procrastinate and get my gift sent out a little bit late. Hopefully, whoever it is got theirs, and hopefully you like it. But I got mine just recently. No, not just recently. I've had it for a couple of days, but we'll open that in a little bit. But first, let's say hi to everyone listening on the audio-only version of the podcast. Hopefully they're having a good run. It got cold here in Crystal Lake, really cold. I ran with a neck gaiter, mittens, and hand warmers in today. I didn't end up needing the neck gaiter all that much, but it was still really cold. Hopefully for you guys, it's warm. Or if you're driving, or maybe you're on your commute on your way home, if you're listening to this, hope you have a nice, safe drive and that road conditions are nice and clear for you guys. And everyone listening to this later but not live, if it's the morning, good morning. Hope your coffee is nice and hot. That's what I'm hoping for you guys today. All right. And Diggity DJ is here in the chat, and he says, I'm a procrastinator, and my wife gets her own gifts. My wife and I don't get each other gifts. I don't know if you guys, have I told you guys that? I'm not much of a Christmas gift giver. So we don't really do much, but I think I'm going to get her something this year. She very, very not subtly hinted that she would like some new pearl earrings. And we've got some jewelers in the family. So I'm going to put two and two together. I always joke that one of my favorite... Do you guys remember the movie My Big Fat Greek Wedding? There's the one scene where they're trying to get... What's her name? Tula? Tula wants to go work in the travel agency, right? If you guys don't know. Hopefully I'm not giving any spoilers, but My Big Fat Greek Wedding, that's like a 15-year-old movie at this point. You should have seen it by now. Maybe it might even be older. But anyway, Tula she works at the diner, but she wants to go work at the travel agency. And it's a really good idea for her to go work at the travel agency, but she can't just go and work at the travel agency. She has to run it by her patriarch dad. But they also know they can't just tell the dad, hey, this is what I want to do. In order for anything to really happen in that family, you have to make it seem like it was the dad's idea, right? And so my wife and I always joke about that, really funny, because that's what we do to all our family members all the time. Anytime we try to get like my parents to do something or her parents to do something, we have to try to kind of like convince them that it's their idea and we set it up. But I'm pretty sure that I got set up for a conversation where I'm supposed to, on my own, come up with a great idea to get my wife jewelry for Christmas this year. So I think that's what I'm going to do. But here's the thing. What's nice about that, I get to procrastinate that for a couple more days. Or maybe I don't. I don't know. We have to see. Because the jeweler that's in the family is back in Iowa. So I can't do it while I'm here. So I think I get to procrastinate a couple more days. All right. Lisa's here also in the chat, says, yo, what's going on? And Mark Peterson says, guess what? My Big Fat Greek Wedding is a 21-year-old movie, huh? Great. And Kamasa says, also, it's a classic Chicago movie. Yeah, that's so funny. Every time, the other thing that, I guess that just shows how old me and my wife are. But also, it's a movie my wife and I saw like early in our kind of dating. Wait, 21 years? Yeah, it would have been in our dating years. And it was kind of funny because there's some parallels, because it's a story about Greek families, but in a lot of ways it's a story about immigrant families. And every time that I feel like something is like super white culture, I just always say to my wife, Ian Miller, like that. Because you know how like that's the name of the husband, Ian Miller. And like none of the Greek people could say it. It was too white of a name. So none of the Greek people could say Ian Miller. So I just say Ian Miller every time something's like super weird. Like if I get invited to a meat raffle, something like that. Yeah. Mandarin says Tula's dad doesn't foam roll; he just uses Windex. Well, I'm glad you guys are all old enough like me to understand the reference and have seen the movie. Vanessa says I never saw any of these sequels, just the original Greek Wedding. Yeah, I don't know. I may have seen the sequel. I don't. I definitely saw the first one though. You know. But and Koa Blue says my Big Fat Greek Wedding 3 came out this year. Really? I didn't know there was a third one. And Andrew Scott says, I'm sorry, what? A meat raffle? Yeah, I think it's a Minnesota thing. It's just a meat raffle. You go and you drink beers all day. You put money in the raffle, and there's like a big spinny wheel. And sometimes you come home with nothing. Sometimes you might win 3 or 4 times, depending on how many raffle tickets you buy. You know? Vanessa Martinez says, bunt cake. Mark Peterson says, no one in Pittsburgh can pronounce the Penguins player name, Evgeny Malkin. I don't know how to pronounce his name either. So they call him Gino instead. That's funny. Frank Luhuller says, my wife never liked the jewelry I pick out, so I don't do that anymore. Oh, that's unfortunate. And Kevin Hong says, I got my wife 2 Stanleys, bringing her total to like 10. Yeah, I think the Stanley Cup thing that's so popular, I don't really understand it. I mean, I get it, but it doesn't speak to me. I understand it. Conceptually, I understand it. But yeah. What's interesting too is like now, I don't know if it's always been this way, but my daughter like wants one now too. And I'm like, no, we have a whole cabinet full of water bottles that you guys have taken from me. I'm not buying you guys more water bottles. I'm probably going to end up buying a couple. Wait, this is not true. Is this? No way. Stephen C. 1984 says, Premier League football team Chelsea had a player called Cesar Azpilicueta, and all the fans called him Dave. No way. That's not right. And Mark Peterson wants to know, are Stanleys the new Yetis? Stanleys are the new Yetis it just hit the I don't know, the mom influencers hard. And it's the Stanley, the one with like the handle and the straw, right? Which I feel like that's super annoying to me. Like I like my Yeti because it has the little, for my coffee, because it has the no spill lid. Oh, it just spilled a little bit. Normally. There was a little dribble in there, but you know what I'm saying? But like, that's why I can put it in the car. I can put it in a bag. I've been drinking from it, but, so it dripped a little. But I can normally put it in a bag and it's fine. I like those. I have a clean canteen that has like the top lid on it. That also is good because it's a nice big wide mouth. And those, I mean, I guess those are like, I guess it's the same thing, you know? Steven C. says that that story about Dave is 100% true. I'm not a Chelsea fan, but I found it funny. I find it a little bit sad. I mean, it's 2023, almost 2024, you know? Crunchy says, my wife and I got a couch and media console, and they called it Christmas. Yeah, I feel like that's a nice thing to do, too. I usually just, for my wife's birthday, I usually just buy stuff that we've been talking about that we should get around the house that costs a lot, you know? I just wait till like a birthday to get it for her. Last year, I actually don't think I got her anything for her birthday. I don't know what I got her for her birthday last year. But I'm thinking about getting one of those really fancy, like you push a button and it makes an espresso, or you push a button and it makes a latte, like one of those machines. Um, because we like those kinds of things. And they're expensive, but I'm like, we both work from home. So it's kind of like an office expense. And those are the kinds of things you would see in an office, you know? I don't know. Vanessa Martinez says, we always have a plethora of left behind water bottles at the dojo. Kids and adults are always leaving their bottles. I bet. What's funny is every time I go to my kid's school, like for a basketball game or if there's like a band concert or choir event or whatever, every time there's a big event, the school will lay out on a giant set of tables, lost and found. And there's just like sweaters and an entire table just of water bottles. It's amazing. There's so many. And I always go through it. I'm like, and my kids are pretty good about it. I don't think they lost that many. But other kids are definitely got to be losing like one a week or one a month. Like a bunch of kids losing it one a month. That would explain how many it is. It's just so, because they clear it out regularly. Like there's like a twice a year choir concert. Like they say, like after like the choir concert around that time of year, then they're gonna donate everything, unless you come and pick it up, you know. Scuba Sun wants to know, why doesn't the Stanley straw fold down? Does it? I don't think it does, guys. I think it just sticks out because it sticks out like really. Have you seen the Stanley straw? It sticks out like this far. Super tall. I just feel like I would knock it over all the time. It just seems so. The Stanley cup, not the Stanley cup, the Stanley mug that is really popular seems very impractical to me. It doesn't speak to me. I do like the Stanley logo, and for a while I really wanted to get. They were selling like the old school, like the coffee, like the work coffee thing. You know, it was really tall and thin and had the screw-on cup. You know, they sold those, and I was like, oh, those look fun, but I don't have a lunch pail. It seems weird to carry that around without a lunch pail, you know? So, I don't know. Joshua R. wants to know, have I taken the Takumi-sen 10 for test run? No, but I did film it last night. To film the B-roll, and I took a look at it really closely compared to the Takumi-sen 10 and 9. And you know how I was saying, like, it looked different up front a little bit? They definitely extended the front lacing system much, much further. And I think the goal of that, and I'll test it once I still haven't even put them on yet, but I'm wondering if they're trying to change the volume of the foot. That could be it. But the lacing system looks the same, but it's actually quite a little bit different. Not quite different, but a little bit different. It extends further down. I don't know if that means there's more lace holes or if they're just more spread out, or I didn't count. But yeah, that's as much as that's the only update I have so far. Daniel Burton, going back to the Stanley, says the Stanleys cost $45. It's crazy. You know what else is crazy? They have a bunch. So, but you know, like now we live in the suburbs, so I go to Dick's Sporting Goods a lot because now my kids are like getting involved in sports. And like they have them all up front by like the cash registers, and they are expensive. You know what? It's not that much more expensive than this Yeti mug that I have though. I want to say this was maybe 40. I don't know. But there's like a limit. It's like you can only buy 5 or something like that at a time. It's probably the only thing in the store that they have to put a purchase limit on. You know? Crunchy says, it went from Yeti to Swell to Hydro Flask and now Stanley. I'm stuck on Yeti. I like the Yeti ones. I like Yeti and I like Clean Canteen. Those are my 2 brands. I was really big into the Nalgene's. I had those. But I was really big into Nalgene's because I was also working in a lab and we used a lot of Nalgene's too. So it seemed appropriate. And then I was like, I could use something that's insulated, you know. Calvin Hong says, I'm a big fan of the Owala water bottles. Flip lid that you could sip from and has a built-in straw so you get best of both worlds. I think I bought one of those for my daughter. She seems to gravitate towards that one. She likes that one too. It's also one of the bigger ones, so she doesn't have to refill it as much. And from what I understand, from what the girls are telling me, the water fountains at school, the water tastes a little funny. So I've been getting them bigger and bigger water bottles. And Vanessa says, yes, get a fancy coffee maker for your wife. Air quotes. And Mark says, would the Nespresso machine be a tax write-off? I suppose if I reviewed it, maybe I could turn it into a tax write-off, but I probably wouldn't. I have been thinking about a Nespresso machine. A Nespresso machine might get us to where we need to go. But on the other hand, I'm like, our fridge has a built-in Keurig in it, which I never would have picked that. It's what came with the house. I actually don't like it being built into the fridge, especially now. You guys saw the kitchen yesterday. We have a kitchen with plenty of counter space now. I have space for it. So it seems like weird to buy an espresso if we already have a Keurig, But I like when I want a cup of coffee, like an American coffee. When I want a cup of coffee, I do like K-cups. I know that like it's not good coffee, but I like it. We have a pour over. I've been making pour overs, but it just takes work. Takes time. I do like AeroPress as well. But the cake, I don't, maybe I'm just used to the taste at this point. So I've been thinking about the Nespresso, but I'm also thinking about, I think my wife just would like the big coffee machine. Scuba says, did I just join subreddit, the Hydro Homie subreddit? Maybe. It's holiday time, so we're talking about gifts, I'm trying to help all the people that procrastinated on buying their wife something, or maybe, not to be sexist about it, maybe a wife forgot to buy a present for their husband. It seems unlikely, but not in this group anyway, Anyway, Andrew Escobedo says, I just ordered a Stanley and Yeti from my company swag store, and to my surprise, the Yeti was more popular, and I'm waiting for it to get back in stock. Really? I like the Yetis. Although, you know what? Arctic has been in my DMs. RTIC. And they make some pretty good stuff too, I gotta say. Stevie76 says, we survived school water fountains. Yeah, we did. They were gross. Now, like, kids have, like, the water bottle fillers, in their water fountains and stuff, and it's filtered. Although I don't know if they are at my kid's school, if they're saying it tastes funny. But, yeah. Ugh. Yeah, there was, you remember school water fountains? There was always the kid that you wanted to make sure you got in line before him because you know that he was going to slobber all over that thing. You knew who those kids were. Right? Yeah. TGI Bridays says, your first is a Keurig. How does it even work? I don't know. It's like, where like it's like, how people have like the water dispenser and the ice dispenser? It's just a little extra wider, and there's like the place where you can put your water in, and then next to it, there's the little thing where you put it, there's a little thing a cartridge that I can take out that I can put the K-cup inside. And then so you hit a button and it heats up the water from the water that comes through the fridge, and then it tells it it's ready, and then it goes. And the reason why I don't like it is because a regular Keurig machine, if you have the one with the big water chamber, it's an energy hog, but it keeps the water like at a ready to brew temperature. So that way, pretty much almost any time you can just hit the button and it'll start brewing coffee. The one that we have in the fridge door, we have to wait for it to heat up, and then there's a delay. Usually, but though, if you want to make like 2 cups of coffee, it tends to heat up really fast for the second one. So I'm thinking it's heating up more than just the 1 cup of coffee's worth. So that's how that works. The other thing that's annoying about it is if I'm trying to heat up the water for the K-cup, I can't drink water. It only does one of the two at a time. And then I just did it this morning. If you start brewing the cup of coffee and then open the fridge, it stops because it's a safety issue because like hot water would be coming out as you're opening and moving doors around. But then if you close the door and you're like, oh crap, I forgot. And you close the door and try to restart it brewing, it has like the sensor on it. So it knows if the K-cup's been punctured already. And because it started a sequence, it thinks that it has already used that pod before and makes you replace it, even though you haven't used it. There's just lots of little things that are super annoying about it. But Andrew Scott says, Coast Fridge is living in the year 2030. I don't know. It sounds like it, but it kind of isn't. And Adam Torres says, talking about the Nespresso machines, is that the machine with those recyclable pods? Yes. And so maybe that would be a good reason to switch because the pods are less of an environmental impact. I don't know. And Calvin says, the Nespresso is a good in-between for a Keurig and a full espresso. I'm sure there's some coffee espresso snobs in the chat. I don't think so. I feel like I've chased them all away because I've been talking about how much I like K-Cups for like years now. So I feel like I feel like you would have not been able to hold your tongue and you'd have just been like, I'm out. If you were a real snob about it, you know? Which there are, and that's totally cool. But I just feel like really delicious coffee is one thing, but I feel like I have a second variable of like ease of use, you know, and I'm just like the diminishing return of like even better coffee is just way too, like the extra effort is way too big. I don't know. All right, Vanessa Martinez says, I have a Yeti collection and I don't like most of the lids. They tend to leak when tipped. I like the screw-on one, but the bottle is too big for cup holders. Yeah. This one just barely fits in all the cup holders in my car. But not the door one. And then the door ones, I kind of have to wedge it in there a little bit. See, will it tip this time? Oh, see, it still dripped a little bit. Oh, I didn't have it closed. That's why. I'm making a mess here today. Now my whole desk is going to smell like coffee. It's like a coffee staining for the table here. You know, this table that I'm sitting on, it is the first like dining table / kitchen table that my wife and I bought. One of the first pieces of furniture that we ever bought. We bought it at IKEA maybe over 20 years ago. Right around the time we saw My Big Fat Greek Wedding, probably. Kurt says, I like my Breville espresso machine for sure. See, I feel like with the espresso machine, when you got to like grind it and then tamp it and all that stuff, I just feel like I know that my wife is not going to want to do all that. I just know she isn't because she's busy, you know, she just ain't got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. But she does like a nice coffee drink, you know, and I want to make sure that, you know, she has what she wants. Scuba Sun says, my work has a Jura fancy coffee maker. I don't know what that is. Works great, and the espresso making is top notch. Our version is $4,000. That's a lot of money. But if it's making really good coffee, I was thinking like, I don't know, I was going to spend way too much. I was thinking like $800. That's a lot, isn't it? I don't know. I mean, I think it's too late now to buy it for Christmas, but maybe for her birthday. Rain Runner says, you're making me want more coffee. Yeah, I'm like out of coffee, especially since I spilled a bunch of it on this table, telling you how spill proof this lid is. But yeah, I want more coffee too. And Shannon says, a Keurig you don't have to constantly refill with water? Brilliant. I want Coast Fridge. Yeah, you just got to replace the K-Cup. It's nice. But here's the thing. Here's another complaint that I have. These are little nitpicky complaints that I have about it. It like, you know, when the K-Cup is done brewing, it kind of drips a little bit afterwards. So then it like drips, and there's a collection tray for it. But then that thing always looks dingy because there's always like a little bit of coffee that's dripped down on there. And so like, it doesn't really bother me, but then like if we have people over, I feel it looks sloppy. I don't know. Ed Chan says, I need a James Hoffman Keurig fridge review. He would be so mad. Uh, mm, and Scuba Sun said, the Jura also has a separate chiller for milk attached to it. Yeah, I've seen those. I think I know what you're talking about. Maybe it's a different brand. But yeah, I've seen a variety of different ones where you like, there's like a hose and it yeah. Or maybe it is, I don't know. But yeah, I've seen them in a bunch of places recently. I saw them. There was one in the hotel in Tokyo. There was actually two at the hotel in Tokyo. And then also there was one at the hotel in Chamonix that we were at. I keep seeing them all over the place. They had them at a lot of the refugios we were in the Dolomites too. You just go up and hit the button and get coffee. It would be great. Which I was like, Italians are go okay with this? I was like, okay. But yeah, it's nice. And Neela says, my fam got us customized Yetis. I use it for shakes. Well, that sounds nice. My sister, whenever you know what's funny is my sister, I'd never seen a customized Yeti before until I was at my sister's house, and I opened the cabinet, and she has one of those the wine tumblers. Is that what it's called? Wine glasses, but there's without the stemless wine thing, but it's insulated. She had one of those, and she had it customized, and I was like, "What is this word?" And it was a combination of her last name and her friend's last name, and I was like, what's going on here?" And she's like, "Oh, well, we did like a joint family trip, and so we had these custom drinks made." I was like, that is the most Connecticut thing. She lives in Connecticut, and I was like, that's the most Connecticut thing I've ever heard. But she likes it, and I'm like, now I'm like, oh, that is kind of nice. So she was right on that one. It's not always super cheap, but it's fun. It's fun. TGI Brida says, yeah, I'm a classic drip coffee maker person, simple, easy, and cheap. Plus, I like to add salt and maybe cocoa powder to the grounds before brewing. Let me tell you what, salt and cocoa powder sounds great. And you know, I love my father-in-law. I don't know if my mother-in-law is watching. Maybe not. Maybe I shouldn't say. I'm in too deep. But they've been like in the holidays, they put like cinnamon in it, and it just, I can't. But they also have a Keurig machine. And so I'll just be like, oh, I didn't see that there was a full pot of this here. Sorry, I already started brewing this Keurig. So I'll just do that. All right. Leona Wong says, my old boss did that with her company name. It was a combo of her two daughters' names. Okay, that reminds me of a story. So yesterday, I don't know if you saw it. You probably saw it in the news today. Yesterday, it was Matt LeGrand. I don't know if he's here. Matt LeGrand posted a story on YouTube about how Apple is gonna have to stop selling the Apple Watch Ultra and the Apple Watch Series 9 due to an ITC. It's a patent dispute. The ITC has ruled against Apple's favor. It says that they have deemed them to be infringing on someone else's patents, and so I don't know if they're sequestering product at ports of entry or they're just preventing them from being imported. Anyway, that just reminded me. I've worked a case at the ITC before. It's an interesting place. It's actually pretty cool in a nerdy kind of way. But it reminds me a lot of the patent work I used to do. All the names of the companies would almost always be a combination of the lead inventors' kids' names, like just some sort of weird combo of like if there's 2 or 3 kids. So like whenever you see sometimes you see a name, like I think in the Apple one, it's like Mission something is like the patent holder. You know, that is just kind of like a company name. But like when it's like, I don't know, maybe it's like maybe your 2 children's name are Jill and Jen. And you're like, you know, Apple is getting sued by patent holders called Jill Jen Incorporated. I guarantee you that that's because the lead inventor's two children named Jill and Jen, or something like that. That's how it always works out that way. It's very unique. I think it's just the whole thing with like inventors. They just like engineers. They like doing that kind of thing. I don't know. Let's see. Wait, let's go to Frank says, presumably the Ultra 1 and Series 8 watches had the same tech in them, but Apple doesn't sell them anymore. Is that the issue? So the ITC, so they could be. It could be an issue if they are still selling them. But if they're not being made and they're not being sold, then it's like no. I mean, that may be part of a different litigation. That's an also infringing product, but the ITC wouldn't handle that. The ITC is just prevents stuff from being imported to the United States, among other things, but it stops the importation of things that would violate intellectual property rights. So that's why it's this like unique procedural posture that's happening right now with the Apple Watch Ultra 2 and the Series 9. And the reason why they could continue selling them now is because the existing product has already entered the United States. So the ITC doesn't have jurisdiction over stuff that's already here. That'll be subject to another federal court litigation, which I'm assuming already has happened, has been filed, and so it would become a matter of damages, I guess. I'm not familiar with the case. I only learned about it yesterday, and I only know as much as whatever Matt LeGrand talked about. So I don't know. Yeah. And so Alex Blazinski says they're going to stop selling those watches at Apple site and Apple Store, but they'll still sell the watches at third-party vendors like Best Buy, Target, etc. while supplies last. Yep. I mean, yeah, while supplies last. It'll be interesting to see if they even last that long. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think, whatever is in the United States is what they're going to sell. I think is kind of where it's at. And like I saw the way that like NBC was like I was watching the Today Show this morning, and the way that they were reporting it, they were like, oh, and people are already like jacking up the price on the secondary market. Look at this guy's tweet. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, this is going to be good. And the guy's like, I'm immediately putting my brand new Apple Watch Ultra 2 for sale, $2,500 or best offer. I know what I got. And I'm like, good luck with that one. I mean, I hope he gets it. I hope he gets it from someone else who's also an avid Twitter user. But I mean, ultimately, the worst that's going to happen is that Apple's going to settle and pay a license. These aren't going to disappear. I don't know why people are that worried about it. Oh, hey, here's Matt. He goes, yeah, that sounds correct. The ITC ruling is addition to another one. Massimo wasn't happy at how long the other one was taking. Yeah. Oh, it's Massimo. Matt, do you know if Massimo is just a mashup of the owner of the company's children's names? Oh, I bet you it is. All right. Jeremy Cahill says, it's time for Garmin and Coros to launch a nationwide marketing campaign. Fire up the influencer channels to pump their watches and take market share. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I wonder. I mean, I do wear an Apple Watch, but I have the Apple Watch SE, which is not affected because it doesn't have the same sensor in it. But I don't know how much this will affect the running market share, except for the fact that even if I don't necessarily think the Apple Watch Ultra or the Apple Watch Series 9 is really a competitor to like Garmin and Coros, except for the fact that most normal people aren't going to buy and have two watches like I have two watches, So if you're buying one, you're probably not going to buy the other. So in that sense, they do compete. I don't know. CV76 wants to know if we get CLE credit for this live stream. No, I don't think so, but maybe you could apply for it. You can apply for it separately. Yeah, and Frank says, that's bizarre with what's going on. It's not like they won't just have an Ultra 3 with an O2 sensor from the SE. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I mean, either they're going to design around it. I mean, they're alleging that they have designed around it. I mean, I think that was their position in front of the ITC. They lost there. Um, but which I think also like generally bodes not well for Apple in federal court litigation. But I mean, they're either just going to take a license or they're going to, and you won't hear about it if they do. The litigation will just go away because it'll probably be subject to non-disclosure agreement, and then it'll just get wrapped up into the price somehow. So, yeah, I don't think it's that big. I don't think it's going to have a huge impact to us as consumers. Yeah, Frank Hillier says Apple Watch with the right app just seems just as good as Koros to me. In a lot, with the right app is a big thing there, and I would generally agree with you, except for yesterday on my run. My Apple Watch SE is a year old, maybe a little bit more than a year old. I got it right about a month before Chicago, so I got it like September of 2022. So it's a little bit more than a year old at this point. But on yesterday's run, it was fine for this run. But for yesterday's run, it was cold, but not bitterly cold. Maybe in the wind chill had it probably in the mid 20s. And my Apple Watch died after an hour. From full charge to it stopped after an hour just because of the cold temperature. And so like people say that doesn't happen with the Apple Watch Ultra. I've asked Hella if that happened to him. He's been running in some cold. He's been running with his in some cold conditions. Everyone that I know that's run with the Apple Watch Ultra in cold conditions hasn't had that happen. But like mine died after an hour. Now I have tested it before, and early versions of the Apple Watch, when it died, it did not like save anything up to that point in terms of recording. Since then, on this Apple Watch SE, now when the Apple Watch dies because of low battery, especially due to cold, it writes down whatever it can, and then it turns itself off. So like, I mean, like it kills itself at like 10%, and then it'll turn back on, and it'll turn back on in low power mode. And so that's kind of like the big thing for me. And I've never had like a regular like running first watch shut down on me like that before, no matter what the temperature. So that's kind of like my big thing about it is like I just don't trust it in cold weather. Oh yeah, and Josh L says the wearables are probably a small percentage of sales for Apple. Yeah, what's funny? Who was it? I think it was on that same Today Show like piece about it. They said that like, oh, Apple Watch, like the Apple Watch is a big portion of its sales. And then the next sentence was because they have big market share. And I was like, that's very different than saying it's a big portion of its sales. Like the company that makes iPhones and MacBooks. Like, I don't know that it's a big portion of their sales. But I think they just, I mean, you don't need to gild the lily on this story. It's a pretty important story. But yeah, I didn't think it was like it's not an inconsequential thing, but I didn't and the Today Show wanted to make it a huge thing. I think the bigger thing was the other fact that they packaged it with, which I'm not sure how much it affects us in the running community, but the same company that so the way that NBC or the Today Show packaged the story about the Apple Watch is they're like, look out, you're not going to be able to get these things for your holiday shopping. Right? And they came back from commercial. And then it was, you can't get the Apple Watch Ultra 2 or the Series 9. And here's why. And they talked a little about it. And then they were like, also, you can't get anything from these brands via their websites. And it was like North Face, Vans, and I forget something else. One of the other, I think it's, what is it? VF Brands Corp or something like that is the parent company of all those. And they're saying like they were subject to like ransomware or something like that. And so like they're unable to process e-commerce transactions at the moment or something that I was like, wait, what is this? That's huge. And I was like, wait a minute. That's the same company that owns Saucony. So is that why people are having a hard time getting the Endorphin Elite? Are they not affected because they're on different ARC systems? I just don't know. Does anyone know about that? I don't know. All right. Mark Peter wants to know what's in the box. Box. All right. We got a box today from the Kofuzi Run Club Secret Santa over in the Discord. We were able to sign up for a Secret Santa a little while ago. Here's a gift that I received as part of the Secret Santa. Let's open it up and see what's inside. It's heavy. It's heavier than like normally a box this size would have shoes or clothes in it. And so this is heavier than that. So I don't know what's in her. Oh, look at this. There's a lot of stuff in here. Let's see if there... I'm going to look for a note first. Wait, is this Secret Santa? I don't think this is Secret Santa. Wait, no, this is. Oh, okay. This one says not to be read on the live. I won't read it out loud. Okay. But this one doesn't say who it's from. So it is a secret. But it is written, there's a note in here from Rabbit, and it's signed by the Rabbit Squad. This part says, "Happy holidays to our favorite non-elite runner. From our many shakeouts together to accidentally sending too much blue apparel in a row." Sorry about that. "We are so happy to have you as part of the Rabbit family. We hope you run many miles, eat great food, and spend time with great people this holiday season." Okay. Awesome. This is so nice. Look at this. Okay, here we go. This is the toaster. We saw the vest the other day. This is... look at this color on the inside. I'm always so cold. Ooh, this is nice. Look at this color. It's got a little rabbit logo. It's like a rubber patch on the side here. It's got zipper pockets on the side and then one on the inside, just like the toaster. I wore the toaster last weekend. It was really nice. Ooh. And then there's some Brooks stuff in here too. Look at this. This is a pair of the Ghost Max in a new color. Black. Look at this one. I've been enjoying the Brooks Ghost Max. It is probably my favorite Brooks shoe right now. And this black one looks really nice. Look at that. Triple black. There we go. Cobalt Blue says, was there a budget for Secret Santa? There wasn't. There wasn't a budget. It was like, be reasonable, you know? I feel like I did not put nearly enough in my Secret Santa package now. But there's that. And I'm definitely... yeah, I think... I like this color of the Brooks Ghost Max as well, but that black one also looks really nice. And then there's this. Ooh. Bring the heat. It's the men's Notch Thermal Long Sleeve 2.0. It's like it's ribbed and it's got like the fuzzy fleecy stuff on the inside, but it's definitely very well I could see you through this. I don't know if you could see. Yeah, you could see me through this, right? So it breathes well. Extra long sleeve with a thumb hole and a watch hole and a watch hole. Look at that. And it's even got a little zipper here for a car key or a key card. That's nice. Really nice. You know what? I think that Brooks apparel is very underrated. And then we got, oh, look at this. Black cap. Nice. And Brooks gloves. Cool. Awesome. Ooh. It's got the little stowaway glove covers, you know, in case it's raining. So you got regular gloves or you got this. Nice. Red Coyote socks are in here. I've never tried Red Coyote before. Huh. Nice. Look forward to that. Oh, look at that. Bib boards. Have you guys tried bib boards before? They work pretty well. They're easier to put on than pins a lot of the time. Oh, there we go, focus. And you can get like logos and stuff put on. I think Seth has some with his logo on it. It's pretty cool. And these are the this is the logo for the socks. The Red Coyote socks. And then there's some food in here, which is good because I'm hungry. Oh, look, now I got 2 of these. This is perfect. 1 for each child. The kids will be happy. And then we got some honey stinger stroop waffle. What did it do? Salted caramel flavor. That's one of the best flavors. They just call them waffles. They don't call them stroop waffles. We got some of the salted cocoa and coffee flavored untapped. These are my favorite. You guys have been paying attention. These are my favorite flavors of the untapped gels. Human chia energy gel, also really nice. And then I'm going to try eating one of these. What is this? Awake. Have you had these before? Awake. Is this food? This is food. You eat it, but it's got caffeine. It's food with caffeine in it. Have you tried this? Awake. It says caffeine content is about half a cup. 1 bite is a half a cup of coffee. Not recommended for children, pregnant, or nursing women, or a person sensitive to coffee. Has milk, tree nuts, almonds, soy, and may contain peanuts, other tree nuts, and sulfites. What do you think this is? What do you think this is? You think this is this is chocolate, right? Milk, tree nuts, almonds. I think the flavor is almond, sea salt, dark chocolate bite. Oh, it looks like an owl too. Look at that. It just tastes like candy, like a really nice chocolate bar. It's good. It has caffeine in it. Really good. JC said it looks like an edible. Be careful. It only says that there's caffeine in it. It's keto certified, non-GMO, and no artificial flavors or colors. Just caffeine. It says usage 4 pieces per day maximum. All right. Well, thank you very much. Whoever my Secret Santa is must work at Rabbit and or Brooks. So I appreciate that very much. That's very generous. Thank you. Merry Christmas to everybody. Leona says, Rabbit definitely went over the money guidelines for Secret Santa. A nice gift, so I appreciate it. Cosmic Final Rebecca says, this is like the Office Yankee Swap episode where all the gifts were $20 except for one person who bought an iPod. Yeah, well, I appreciate it. It definitely feels like a little bit too much, but I appreciate it very much. Someone was asking if this is reversible. It's not reversible because like there's the pockets don't work both ways, and there's like tags and stuff on the inside of it. So let me show you. Yeah. So it wouldn't work as a reversible jacket. Because it has this thing, the toaster on the inside. But I do love like the color contrast. Really nice here. Now that I've taken the jacket off, I'm really chilly. By the way, today, because it was cold out, I did my younger daughter, when I took her to the bus stop, she did request to be taken out with the rumple blanket that Rabbit sent the other day. So there's that too. So we got to use that today, and we looked a little bit ridiculous like that, but all the other kids were a little bit jealous. So there. All right, Steve Zabrowski's here. What's going on, Steve? He says, yo, what's going on back in the man cave basement? I see. I'll have to catch the rerun later. All right, well, I'll see you later, Steve. Good to see you. And Kevin Hong says, anything's reversible if you try. Everyone here, I feel like everyone here, we're like around the same age, right? Everyone here knows that because of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, right? We all know that everything's reversible if you try. And Leon says, do you still have the Rabbit water bottle, or has it been taken too? I've staked it out as mine. So far, it's still my water bottle. All right. Luis Becerra says, Feliz Navidad a todos. I think that's a great way to end it for today. Although, here we go. We do have a quick question here. Ricky has a quick question. Do you have a strong opinion of Yasso 800s to predict marathon time? I think that they are pretty good at predicting marathon time. I don't think that you should train for the test, though. You know what I mean? Like, some people are like, and I think even Bart Yasso was like, well, we would keep doing them early in the training block until you couldn't hit the paces anymore. So in the beginning, you'd hit 4. And then you keep training, marathon training, and then we do the workout again, and someone would be able to hit 7 of them. And then we keep training for the marathon, and by the end, they'd be able to hit 10, and then they would be able to, and that also happens to coincide with the marathon time. And that's kind of the language that Bart Yasso did. It just happens to work out that way. I think it's because what you're doing is a VO2 max workout. And so it's like you're doing VO2 max work, and it's a longer VO2 max work, which is appropriate because you're doing a longer race of the marathon. And so in that sense, it's a good workout to do. And like I usually do it later in a marathon block where I might want to touch some faster speed and also kind of check to see where I'm at. So I feel like, it's a pretty good indicator, but again, I wouldn't train to the test, although I guess that's how Bart Yasso uses it. So, yeah, I'm not sure. But my opinion is like, it's at worst, you've done a pretty good, rigorous VO2 max workout, Yeah. All right. And Jeremy Cahill says, going back to reversible, never have I ever went for a run with a piece of apparel inside out. I like it the way you wrote that, Jeremy. All right, guys. I think that's going to be a great place to leave it for today. As Daniel Burton says here, have a great day. Merry Christmas, everybody. We will still have a couple more. We'll do live streams tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then we'll take a break. We'll take a kind of a long break, and I'll explain that a little bit more tomorrow. But we'll have 2 more for this week. All right, sound good, guys? All right, till I see you guys again. Be safe out there, everybody. All right, thanks.